Okay, so let us start. So in the previous session, so we have seen like performance testing life cycle, right? Right. So we have
Yes.
seen what is RFI, what is RFP, right? So and requirement gathering, what are the other different phases in performance testing life cycle? Say requirement gathering, draft, test plan document, and scripting, script review, right? And setting up test environment, shakeout test, and executions and reporting, right? So now let us see the first, also I have shown you some RFIs and RFIs I have shown you. RFPs I will show you later. Okay. So let us start, proceed with the requirement gathering, the next phase in the performance testing lifecycle. Okay. So requirement gathering can be broadly divided into three categories. Okay. So general, architectural, and business. Okay. So so from this phase, like everyone is supposed to get involved. Okay, everyone of when I say everyone of the team, every member of the team is supposed to get involved from the requirement gathering. Okay, so let us see what are the what is meant by requirement gathering and what are the different requirements that we need to gather. Okay, so the first and foremost requirement that we have to gather is what are the timelines of the project. So when I say timelines, so like what is the uh, timeline to begin and close the testing activity? Okay. So when should the project start and when should by what time, by which date it should be completed, right? So this is the first and foremost requirement. Okay, under general category. Okay, the next one is the application functionally stable and its functional testing is completed or not, right? So we discussed it, right? So unless until functional testing is completed, doesn't make sense to do performance testing, right? So we need to we need to ensure that like the application is functionally stable and the functional testing is completed, right? Right, Sushma?
Yes.
You got it right. So why functional application functional testing should be completed? So functional
Yes.
testing will be done by single user. So if the application is not working for single user itself, if the application functionality is not working fine, so then there is no point to go for performance testing, right? Which we
Yes.
do with multiple users, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. And so, and then what are the access credentials and URL of the application? So we need to know what is the URL and what are the access credentials of the application, right? To start anything, to start, scripting or to start anything, right? So to design the, workflows or, like to prepare the paper scripts, right? Okay. What are paper scripts or what are the different, let me show you like how do you get the how do you prepare the scripting scenarios. Okay, so if it is an already existing application and like if they have done some performance testing or if the application team has an idea about the performance testing, like they will provide the scenarios like this. Okay, so you're able to see my screen now. So
Yes.
for instance, if you consider this web tools application, so we are going to use web tools application, right? So for instance, if you consider this web tools application, okay, so I explained you like this is a flight reservation application. So
Yes.
and what can be the critical business flows for this application? The first one is like we have to sign up with to use any application. We have to sign up or we need to register ourselves, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the sign up scenario. Okay, say for example, let me let's manually navigate the steps first. Okay, I click on sign up now. Okay, and then I enter some perf test 101. I enter some username. Okay, or else I will take 501. Okay, password I will keep as password only. Okay, so different users, like in real world, when any user have if any user has to use any application, first they will have to register themselves, right?
Yes.
So this is the sign up scenario or registration scenario for this application, right?
Yeah.
Right, so I entered my customer profile or customer details, say username, password, and first name, last name, and address, and clicked on continue. Okay, maybe I have passwords are not matching, maybe. Okay, so once I entered those details, it is displaying a confirmation message saying that thank you Perfresh 501 for registering and welcome to the WebTools family. So this means registration is completed successfully, right? And
Yes.
it is displaying a welcome message. So if you click on continue, then it will allow you to log in. Okay, so now the user has logged in. Okay, and here you can see sign up button now, right? So user logged into the application. So after registration, so it is displaying a confirmation message, displaying a welcome message. So welcome Perfect to the WebTools reservation pages, right? So and then I will. So registration is done. So this can be one critical business flow, right? So that's what I'm sure I have it here. Okay, so navigate to WebTools homepage, and this is the URL. So we prepare an Excel sheet or Word document like this, or else if they have already, they are already. I mean, when I say they, client, if client is already having these scenarios, they will be sharing these critical business flows to us. Okay, so then we have to manually navigate first all the flows, and like we have to make sure that every business flow is working fine. Okay, as soon as you got these workflows, we call these as workflows, okay, or critical business flows. So as soon as you get these scenarios, like you have to make sure that you are able to log in successfully, and application is working, the application functionality is working as expected, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I navigate to the WebTools homepage, and this is the URL, and then I click on sign up now, right?
Yes.
So then I click on, I enter the profile details, right? Profile details, and click continue, and then application displays a confirmation message, and again if I click continue, user will be logged in, and then I log out. So this can be one critical business. This is user registration, right? User
Yes.
registration or sign up scenario, right? So that's what I gave here, WebTools underscore sign up, or I can say registration scenario. Okay, now what, like once we log in, what does typically a real user do? So this is a flight reservation application, right? So we click on flights button. Okay, so say for example users want to book a flight ticket. Okay, so we click on flights button. So let me show you that scenario as well. Okay, here it is. So random flight reservation. So I went to home page and then login using this password, using this credentials and username and password, and then I click on flights button. Okay, I click on flights button. I click on flights button, and then again, sorry, then change the departure or arrival city and click continue, right? Change departure or arrival city, you can change any of those. Okay, I'm selecting some city randomly. Okay, so departure city means like the city where I want to you know book
Go.
a ticket from, and arrival city is to where I have to go, right? So source and destination, right? And then by default departure date will be tomorrow's date. Okay, just remember this. So we will like we will have to use it when we start scripting. Okay, by default the departure date will be tomorrow's date. If you want, you can change it. Okay, so once I change this arrival city, so because like by default you will be having, let me start from the beginning. By default you will be having Denver and Denver in both the drop downs. Okay, so
Okay.
So, and there will be 10 cities in each drop down. Okay. So you have Denver, Frankfurt, London, Los Angeles, Paris, Portland, San Francisco, Seattle, Sydney, and Zurich. So you have the same 10 cities in the other drop down as well. Okay. So, so okay. So you can either change a departure city or arrival city and click continue. Okay. So once you click continue, so it will always display four flights. Whatever city you select, it will always display four flight options. Okay. These are the flight numbers 20, 21, 22, 23. These are the flight numbers and these are the departure times and this is the cost for each flight. Okay. Cost for each ticket. Okay. So I select some, I select some my convenient time and I select my, the as per my budget, like I select something, some flight and I click on continue. Okay. And here I enter some, okay, some street address and city. Okay. And then I enter some credit card number. So, okay, it won't validate. You can enter any credit card number. Okay. It won't validate even the number of digits also. Okay. So you can enter any junk value, and I click on continue, and then it displayed a confirmation message saying that thank you for booking through web tours. So this is my second scenario, right? So select a flight randomly, enter payment details, and ticket reservation will be done. Okay, and go to itinerary and check reservation and sign off. Okay, so if you want to see this the ticket which is booked just now, you can go to itinerary, right, and you can see the the ticket here. Okay, from Denver to London, right? These are the cities we have selected here, right? And this is the flight number that we have selected, flight number 22, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is another critical business flow for my application. And no, like in this workflow what we have done, we have selected a flight randomly. Okay, we have selected a flight randomly. Suppose so we want to select cheapest flight. Okay, so cost conscious customers, like like they will be selecting the cheapest flight. So we will be, we have to develop a script for that as well. Okay, so all the steps, like remain same except this, flight selection. So here in this workflow, web tours underscore cheapest flight, we select the cheapest cost flight. Okay, once we select the arrival and departure city. Okay, so you select the cheapest flight. So what is the cheapest flight here? 277 is the least cost, right? So I select the cheapest flight and I click continue, and then I enter my details. Okay, okay, I enter some credit card details. Okay, and click continue. Done. So it displays a confirmation message. Now if you want to see this ticket as well later on, at later point of time, so you can go to itinerary and check the ticket. Earlier you have one, now you have two, right? Okay, so this can be another critical business flow. Okay, and what can be the other business flows, other important business flows for this application? Any travel
Booking
application?
flight, canceling ticket,
Speak a bit louder, please.
ticket cancellation.
Yeah, ticket cancellation, right? So for any travel application, it can be another critical business flow, right? So I go to itinerary and I select the first ticket. Okay, and I click on cancel checked. Okay, now the ticket got cancelled. Now you have only one ticket, right? So
Yes.
this is my another business important business flow. Okay, here it is. Oh, no. Left. Okay. Okay, So registration, user registration one is one critical business flow, random flight reservation and cheapest flight reservation and cancel flight, which we are going to develop scripts for this application. Okay.
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 Okay. Now, so we need to know what are the like we need to know like what are the what is the URL of the application and credentials of the application, right? So they will be providing some test user IDs, okay, in the test environment. So we need to get those details, right, as part of the requirement gathering, right? URL and access credentials of the application, right? And then any preference on the performance testing tools, okay? So if the client may be few cases client may be already having a license, okay, for any if it is licensed tool, or else like if budget client has some budget constraints, and if they want to like if they want to use open source any application, so we need to know any preference. We have to prefer any other tool, any tool, okay. In
Okay.
open source also we have JMeter and Gatling and few other open source tools. So we need to know what is the what is the client, if there is any preference, from client side, okay.
Okay.
And also like like JMeter being an open source, it doesn't support all the technologies, all the tools and technologies. So we need to also understand like whether the tool supports, whether the open source tool, whether the application technology is supported by JMeter or not. Say for example, if you are testing a SAP application, okay, so JMeter cannot support SAP applications. It cannot we cannot use JMeter for SAP or CBEL, okay. So we need to know like whether the tool supports that particular application or not, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then what type of performance testing should be conducted? So we discussed like there are different types of performance testing, like load test, stress test. Did we cover that?
Yes.
Okay. So load test, stress test, and soak test, right? So what is load test and what is what is load test first of all? There is a difference between load test and the stress test, right?
Actually, it was not told in detail.
Okay.
Just what will be covered under performance testing. It was discussed. That's it.
Okay. So yeah, we will cover later on. Okay. So yeah. So let's complete this requirement gathering. Then we will see. Okay. So we need to know like we need to know like what type of performance testing should be conducted. Load test, or stress test, soak test, and spike test. So we will discuss in detail about each of these tests. Okay, going forward. And then so we have observed that there will be something called a firewall, okay, firewall in the enterprise environment or any application environment, okay. So what is the purpose of this firewall? Okay, so firewall and there is something called DMZ as well. DMZ stands for demilitarized zone, okay. So basically the purpose of this is like if there is some hacking attempt or if there is some intrusion attempt, okay, if someone is attempting to trying to hack our application, right? So there will be something called a firewall which which will screen those requests and it will act accordingly. So when we are doing a load testing, so we will be using like two or three load generators to do the testing, okay. So whenever there are huge number of requests coming from a single machine, okay, so the like application thinks that there is some hacking attempt, so that's why it blocks those requests if there are huge number of requests coming from a single machine, okay. So for that what we have to do is like we need to get some firewall clearance. So when I say firewall clearance, what they will do is they will add the load generator IPs, okay. So one second, let me show you that what is load generator and all to understand this. Okay. So this is manual load testing, which is impossible, okay. suppose if you want to test an application for some 10,000 users, right? So, or 10,000 users, say for example, you want to test an application for 10,000 users, right? So, if you are not going to use any tool, like you have to engage 10,000 testers, right? And you have to engage 10,000 machines, and all those 10,000 users should be coordinated, right? And they have to do the testing, okay? And like all the results should be collected from all those 10,000 machines, right? So these are the challenges if you want to do load testing without a tool, okay? So we have to coordinate those many number of users, and we have to like we have to gather those many number of client machines, and we have to coordinate them, and we have to collect and analyze the results as well, right? Also, if you want to repeat the test, like last time we have discussed, right, in the performance testing life cycle. So once we find out any issues, then we provide some recommendations, and we provide some analysis to the development team or DBA, and they will fine tune the application. So we have to repeat. Once they have done some tuning, once they have done some changes to the application, okay, so we have to repeat the test. If you remember, I mentioned that we have to repeat the test to validate the changes, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Repeat
so
testing.
yeah, so we cannot achieve test repeatability as well if you are doing manually, right?